We assume that fine particles have higher concentration when the temperature is higher, as we can see more or less on the graphs. As we can see, the temperature between the 13th of March and the 21st of March of this year are quite high in comparison of the other year, but the fine particle stays low, so we can conclude that the emission of fine particle was lower at this period. However, we have to keep in mind that we don't have a lot of data, so these conclusions are highly based on assumptions and have to be confirmed by future data.
Google has tracked mobility data, meaning the movement of people, using mobile phone data in key regions. An overall decrease compared to Google's typical baseline is found in all of the regions, other than residential. After estimating which fraction of this relates to vehicle use and the contribution of transportation to overall CO2 emissions, we estimated a decrease in total CO2 emissions of -8.2%.
NOx are produced by the reaction of nitrogen and oxygen during combustion. A high producer of this pollutant are combustion motor vehicles. As we can see on the previous slide, the number of vehicle use at the moment drop, so we can relate that to the graph here, where we can see that the concentration of NOx is lower this year than the previous year. But once again, these data are quite new and these assumptions have to be confirmed in the future. And also this could be related to other factors like meteo or measure taken to lower this concentration.
Airplanes on March 24, 98% of the traffic was affected, leading to major impact for airline companies like Swiss, where the trigger grounding, and EasyJet, who decided on March 30 to lock the fleet on the ground for an indefinite period of time. And that leads to major reduction of the CO2, for example, for the connection between Geneva and Zurich by Swiss. We have 15 tons CO2 less per day, and between Geneva and London by EasyJet we have 43 tons CO2 less per day due to the cancellation of the flights.
For this part, we will be interested on people working in the tertiary sector and especially people who can work at home. The idea is to find how much CO2 emission could be saved if people go with home working for 1 or 2 days per week. With simple calculation approximation, it seems like 0.5% of all CO2 emission of Switzerland could be saved, but we will work more in details during the rest of the time.
Finally, we ask us what is happening after the crisis. We thought it's important to keep on doing video conferences and remote working. Our goal is to get a carbon footprint calculator which shows us how much CO2, time and money you saved by doing a video conference instead of a physical meeting, to motivate the people to stay on doing video conferences.